So, welcome to this particular video of machine learning training program, and in this particular video we are going to revise the concept of for loops. Okay, so basically what are for loops? For loops are something that iterates over the sequence. Okay, iterates over the sequence or collection of elements, right? It iterates over sequence or collection of elements. That means if I type seq is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, this is the sequence we have, which is the collection of elements in the form of list. And if I want to iterate over these, then how will I do that? For num in seq, num means number in sequence, what we can do print the num. Then what it will do, it will start iterating over these elements. Okay, there is a spelling mistake here. So what it will do, it will start iterating over this particular sequence of elements. So if we talk about how it is basically doing that, so this num variable is coming onto this one, and then it is printing the 1 here. Then in the next iteration, it is again going to the index number 1, then it is going inside the for loop, and it is printing the 2 here. In the same way, in the next iteration, it is going on the index number 2, and then it will go inside and it will print us 3. In the same way it will do for 4, and in the same way it will do for 5. And when after 5, again it will go inside this sequence of elements, and it will see that the collection of the elements are over. Then what it will do, it will basically not go inside this, and it will come out of the loop, and it will show us the output like this. Okay, so that is how it is basically printing out the sequence of elements. But I must tell you one thing, that it is not at all important. It is not important that it should be related to sequence. I'm telling you what I'm saying. It should be related to sequence or something. It is not important like this. For example, if I type for num in sequence, the same for loop, and I can type print hello or something. Okay, it is just iterating over this sequence of element, and it is printing us the hello. Okay, it is the output is not related to the the sequence of elements. Okay, now let's talk about while loops. Okay, now let's talk about while loops. Let's quickly revise the concept of while loops. We have something known as I equal to 1 or something, I equal to 1, and then we'll be having while, and I can say I less than 5, and basically I can say print, I'll say I is, let me do like this, I is I'll say this, and dot basically format, and I can say I here. Okay, so one more thing, it is not getting, let's run it. If we got error, then we'll see. So basically now you can see that it is a infinite loop, it is not stopping. So that is what happens when you don't have an exit condition. Okay, you should have an exit statement to end this loop. And why is that? See, it is saying that I equals to 1, and while I is less than 5, that means while I is less than 5, while 1 is less than 5, print this, and print like I is 1. I is the the value that contains I, but it is not increasing, not decreasing. So this condition will always become true. It will be always true, and it will keep printing till eternity. So that is why it is very important to have an exit statement. Okay, so how you can do that, you can just simply say that of I is equal to 1, while I is less than 5, print I, and we can have as I is equal to I plus 1 simply. And now what it will do, it will have an exit condition, and it will say that I equal to 1, I is less than 5, and print I on this particular area, on this particular curly braces. It will say 1, and in the next, now the value of the I will get updated, and it will become 2, because it is I is equal to I plus 2, I plus 1. Then it will go back to the while loop. Again it will check 2 is less than 5. It will say it is true, definitely it is true, and then I is I is 2, then it will print I is 2, then the value of the I will get increased. It will go back to the while loop. It will become 3. Again the condition is true. It will go inside, print the thing. Again at the condition number 4, that means when I becomes 4, it will go back to the while loop and it will say that it is still 4 is less than 5. It is still true. It will go inside it. It will print I is 4. Then it will become I will become 5, and then it will go back to the while loop. It will say 5 less than 5, which is false right now, which is false because it is 5 less than 5 and 5 is equal to 5. That means it becomes false, and as soon as the condition becomes false, it will come out of this for loop. Okay, so that is why basically we have the while loop, and that is why it is important to put a exit condition to end the while loop. Okay, so basically that is what it looks like in the form of while loop. Okay, so now let's talk about something called as range. Okay, let's call about something called as range. Okay, so if I type for, let's have a sequence, and I'll say 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, and I'll say for I in sequence and print x. Okay, not x, print I. Okay, print I. So it will give us 1 2 3 4 5. Simple as that. So basically whenever we want something, whenever we want to do something for certain amount of time, we use range for that. Okay, like let me just type it here. When you want to do something for certain amount of time, then we use range. Okay, then we use range. So how it will work? If I'll say range of 0 comma 5, okay, so it will basically create the values from 0 to 5. To see that, you need to typecast it to the range. You have to typecast it like this, and if I'll say 0 comma 5, it will give us the 0 to 4 elements. Okay, so that is why whenever we want to repeat something, not repeat, basically whenever we want to do something for certain amount of time, for the frequency part, then we'll use range. For example, for the same loop that we just implemented here by having a sequence, we need to store we need to waste a memory just for the sequence. So in the range function, we don't need to do that. For I in range, and I'll say 0 comma 5. Sorry, I'll just by mistake run the code. Anyways, go below that, and then I'll say print I here, and it will run the code from 0 to 5, and it will give us the desired output. Okay, and one more thing, if you want to have list range, and this thing you should keep in mind, that whenever we are putting the end value, that means 0 to 5, this particular number is always ignored. Okay, it is coming from 0 to 4, that means it is having 5 elements, that is getting started from 0. Okay, in the same way, at the range of 10, we are starting from 0 till 9. Okay, so that is what the range is. That is what all about the range is. Okay, so make sure you understand this, make sure you have the understanding of this. It's a very important concept, and maybe we'll be using in some projects later on the machine learning. So yeah, so that's it for today's class, and in the next class we'll be studying about list comprehension and more things if we need, and then we'll move towards the next video. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next video.